Welcome to the Struggle Bus Family Podcast. This morning we have some amazing guests on from Dacus Doodles. I got the name right this time. Good morning, good morning. Why don't you introduce yourselves?
I'm Carli. I am the daughter of the duo. I live in Beaumont. I got married a little over a year ago, so we now have two locations instead of one. So it means just more love and more puppies.
And I am Tammy, the mama of this crazy train, and I live in Montgomery, Texas, where Carly lived all of her life before she up and left me. But I'm happy about that. She is thriving in Beaumont. So, and
Great.
it's not as close as I'd like for it to be, but she's about 2.5 hours from us. So.
It's still
Yeah,
my
and
favorite. It's not too far. So
That's
Yeah, and it
awesome.
still works when we need to switch dogs back and forth according to who is breeding next, or because she has half of the pack, I have half of the pack. So as we're planning litters and stuff like that, then, it helps to be closer so that whenever we need a girl to go stay with her or one to come stay with
yeah.
me, because, we each have now two studs. It was one stud, but now each of us have an up and coming stud as well.
which
So
works.
what does that mean for talk a little bit about like the business, the history of the business and what this means for the business.
Carly, I'll let you do that.
So the history of the business is actually quite comical how it started. So growing up, my brother and I bred hunting retrievers in high school. So breeding is not new. That's something that I've done. Mom helped with the hunting retrievers, but it was more mine and my brother's thing. So she was like, "This is y'all's thing. You do it. I'm here if you need me." And so we bred hunting retrievers. It was a lot of fun. We've got several dogs up in Oklahoma that hunt, several in Texas that hunt. So it's been cool to see lineage of our labs. But whenever I graduated high school, I said, "By the way, I'm not going to college, but here's my plan." And my dad about cried at the table. He was so upset.
Heartbroken.
He
Heartbroken.
was like, "No, you need to go to college and you need to do all these things." But I said, "There's just not anything that I want to go for. And I know if there's not something that my heart isn't wholly in, I'm not going to get the grades that I want. And then I'm going to be disappointed in myself. And I'm going to have a piece of paper that is a piece of paper at that point because may not even be what I end up doing." So I said, "But I have a plan. I'm not just going to not do anything." And they said, "Okay." So I presented them with this elaborate plan. And I said, "Well, we're going to breed Goldendoodles and we're going to breed them for working and service dogs. And here is all of the associations we're going to be a part of and the health testing we're going to do and how we're going to raise our puppies and all of the things." And Mom looked at me and goes, "No."
We sew. We had a thriving sewing business, making all sorts of stuff. And you know that emoji where the mind blown, yeah, that's where we
Yeah.
were at. And then she politely reminded me and her dad that we always told them that what their heart's desire was, as long as it was legal, we would follow through with that and help them in any way we could. And then we were stuck. We had to do it. And so that brings us to where we are today, following.
It was in 2017. And we got Lucy shortly after. And then I gifted my brother Drew because gifting live animals is like a thing for me. And I had,
Which we
obviously
have been banned from doing at this point.
it's a heartbeat. I'm not allowed to
That sounds
gift.
like another story to me.
It is. There's a whole rabbit hole. But so now I'm not allowed to gift live animals, but I gifted Lucy to Mom for her birthday slash Christmas. And then I gifted Drew to Cole for Christmas. And then I bought Ethel, this girl right here.
Oh.
I bought Ethel as my own Valentine. So we drove up to Dallas. We met her breeder halfway. She's from Arkansas. And we drove up to Dallas on Valentine's Day and we picked her up. And then the rest is just history since then. Took us about 2 years to get all of our health testing completed.
Wow.
We could have our first litter. So that's The longest part of it is going in for all of our OFAs. So OFAs is the Orthopedic Foundation of Animals, and they test for hip dysplasia, elbow dysplasia, any heart issues, any eye issues, excuse me. And they also do patellas now on our size. We do all of them. We used to not do patellas, but we started doing that about a year and a half ago. Get down. Thank you. So those are all of the OFA testings we do. Those are what takes the longest because you have to wait until they're a specific age for hips. So if you go too early, they can still be a little bit lax because of their puppy joints. So puppies, their joints aren't solidified until they're over a year old, which is really crazy to think about, like their hips quite literally are not fully formed.
That's why we always say no running, jumping, long jogs and stuff like that, because it could be detrimental to their hips before they're a year old.
They can do all their normal puppy play, zoomies, all of
Yeah.
that. I wouldn't take them, on a 5 mile run at 8 months old. So
Yeah.
those kinds of things, it's just better for their hip joints. So that's what takes the longest. We also do full DNA testing, which tests for over 230 genetic diseases.
Wow.
And they have to be,
Wow.
so it's a lot. And it takes a while to get them up to do all that. So like mom was just talking about us having 2 upcoming studs. They have done their genetic testing and passed their genetic testing, but they haven't done their OFAs because they're not old enough. So, in that time, of course, we're here falling in love with these dogs, loving on them every day, playing with them, doing all the things, and then have to wait to do their testing until they're of age. And thankfully, we have never had a dog fail on their OFAs, which is huge. I mean, we're also a smaller breeder, so we only bring dogs in every so often.
Right.
So that's also been a part of that, but
And we
it's
also have to submit all of our testing passing scores to the Goldendoodle Association to be part of their program. And we are a gold level breeder with them.
Wow, amazing. Amazing. I didn't know that.
So
Yeah.
I mean, so you talked a little bit or a lot, I guess. I mean, more than I knew, but about the health aspect of the dogs. But so we have a mini golden doodle in our house, who we got from a different breeder. I'm sorry, we didn't know about you back
We
then.
are too. That's okay.
Um, but I mean, there's for me at least, and I think other parents with special needs, because there's a lot of confusion about the term service animal or service dog, and a lot of places say, oh yeah, we allow service animals, but it's like, well, okay, how does that work? I mean, I've heard a couple different versions, like, well, there is no certification, or you do this sort of training, which it sounds like you guys. I mean, we'll get more into what you guys do to prep and screen the different animals, but it sounds like you guys do a lot of that work, um, that maybe other breeders and not all breeders do. But I'm just curious how the service animal moniker works, so to speak.
So we are not trainers, but
Right.
when you come to us and you want a working dog or a working dog prospect, we say bring your trainer with you and let's have a conversation of what you're needing so we can tailor our program to best suit your needs on that particular litter that you're on. Because we have to do all of our curriculum with all of the puppies. We don't know which puppy is suitable for what type of training
Right.
until they're 7 weeks old and we do our temperament evaluations. And those are done by an independent that's never met the puppies. And she also has a degree from Texas A&M. So she is a phenomenal addition to our program. She has helped us grow our program to where it is today by helping us with our temperaments, because first and foremost, it's the temperaments that we're looking for. And then let's add the cool colors and the parties and all that kind of thing that are fun. That's just the icing on the cake. But we needed that foundation of good structure and good temperaments. And that's also why we don't breed minis, is because a lot of our people are going to need a dog that is going to be mobility
Right.
or a bigger dog. And so the minis don't necessarily fit into that category. Although we believe every dog can heal a heart. But for some of the working aspect, we need that larger frame to go in and to
Hmm.
do the work that's needed to help our parents.
We
Um,
also,
you
some
want to
families, go ahead.
No, I was going to say you want to talk about the certificates and yeah.
So we have the families who come to us and they have what we consider priority pick in our litters. So we don't pick their puppy, they don't pick their puppy. Our evaluator and their trainer pick their puppy solely based off of temperament. Coat color, gender are completely irrelevant. It's which
Mhm.
puppy to perform this task the best for them. So in that, we have done diabetic alert dogs, we've done mobility dogs, we've done therapy dogs, we've done clinic dogs, we've done open access dogs. I mean, there's just a whole list of all the things. And there isn't technically a piece of paper you can get that says, hey, this is a certified service dog. You can go online and Google, hey, I need a service dog certificate, and you can print it off. And I can say that my pet is a service dog, which that's a whole nother thing that irks me so much. I don't like when people say that their pet is a service dog because they're taking the rights away from a family who truly needs this dog to go everywhere with them. So it makes it harder for our families who have a true task-oriented dog that need this dog to be their shadow 24/7, whether that's going to the grocery store, going out to dinner, going to pick up things at the store, going to the ball field to do something. You know, they need this dog with them all the time. So diabetic alert dogs. They're
Mhm.
never off work. They work 24/7. Their nose never stops. So
Mhm.
you have to have a dog that has the proper drive, that has the proper nose, but also has the capability of turning that switch off and being able to rest and come back because they don't technically get an off day. So there's a lot that goes into it temperament wise, but as far as like paperwork and certificates, you can get a note from your doctor and that works, which is amazing. Most of our families do. So if you have a note from your doctor, that's like a, hey, this is legit. I didn't just go online and say, oh, hey, I need a service dog certificate. You have a note from a physician that you've been seeing. So that's what a lot of our families will do. And then we also have families who come along who didn't have that working spot, but we have a puppy who has potential to work. So they'll do owner self-training, which is amazing. And we've had several puppies be super successful in it. So if we have a puppy that has the capability, we tell people that, hey, this puppy has the potential to do these things if you follow through with the training. We've had several be super successful. There's one down in the Galveston area. He's an open access dog and he goes and does disaster relief. He goes into hospitals. He goes
Wow.
into
Wow.
it's super cool because that's what his mom wanted to do. She said, I want a dog that I can give back to the community with. That's what she got. And
That's
she's
amazing.
so he gets to go and do all of these open access things that it's more than a therapy dog can do. So therapy dogs, working dogs, and emotional support are all different. So your working task-oriented dogs have the highest level of access. They can get on planes, they can go in restaurants, they can go into like courthouses, the Capitol, all of that. They can basically go anywhere their owner goes because they're task-oriented. Therapy dogs typically are in a clinic working with clients. So we have a therapy dog in Austin that is the live teddy bear in the child play therapy sessions, which is so cool. He literally lays there and he's just like this living, breathing teddy bear of if a kid wants a hug or wants to hold him or run their fingers through his hair, that kind of thing, he's there. And if not, he's just there. He'll just lay wherever he lays. And so it's been cool to see all the different things. And then
I could do
emotional.
that job, I think.
And then emotional support technically doesn't have access to anything because I mean, I could consider Ethel an emotional support because, oh,
Mhm.
I'm sad and she comforts me kind of thing. So emotional support, while yes, they are important and they do a job, they don't technically have the access of a working dog.
I think of emotional support as a weighted blanket.
Yes.
It
Oh,
is
I love
in
that.
dog form. You
Yeah.
know, they're just there, they're very comforting and they can bring your anxiety way down real fast.
Okay.
I would,
That's a
yeah, that's, I mean, our, you mentioned your dog Lucy, ours is a Lucy too, and so I'd classify Lucy as that, I think.
Yeah, I think so. So you made a really good point, Carly, when you said that like diabetic, the dogs that are trained to help with diabetes, they're never off. So that's a good point to call out with the difference in a service dog and like an emotional support animal as well, right? Like service dogs are 24/7. Can you talk about that a little bit when people are considering like, oh, I think we need a service dog or we want to add a service dog to our family or considering it, what are some of the things they should consider as well? Like this dog is trained to work all the time. It's not like a choice, when you need maybe talk through some of that before I run off on a train somewhere
Tell,
here.
tell her about the boy that had selective mutism.
Yeah. So service dogs are, and this is kind of the reason why there's no specific paperwork for it. Every single service dog is going to be trained individually for that trainer. None of their tasks are going to be identical. You can't go take 5 service dogs and put them in a line and say they can all complete the same task. They can
Right.
all complete the same basic obedience that they learned to then learn task work. So their foundation is the same, but what they're trained to do for that specific person, for their handler, is going to be different for every single person in every single case. So we had a little boy, and I won't say his name because I don't know if his mom would want me to. But we had a little boy, and he was about 5 or 6 at the time. And his mom came to us and said, hey, we're looking for, a service dog that can come and kind of be my son's shadow. And so, really got to dig more into that. Why does he need a shadow? What is he needing? What is this dog needing to perform for him so that we can help put the right puppy with y'all, with our evaluator? So she said, well, he went to school for an entire year and didn't speak a word,
Mm,
not to the teacher, not to his classmates, not to his pencil when he was trying to write the right word, literally not a word. She said he's mute. He does not talk. And his mom said, what are you talking about? He talks all the time at home. And she said, not a peep at school. So they ended up going to see a doctor and all the things. And it turns out he had selective mutism. So
wow.
basically, in public spaces, he got really overwhelmed and just shuts off. He's like, nope, I'm done. I'm checked out. I'm here until I need to be here. And then I'm gone. And so they ended up working with a local trainer that trains working and service dogs, not a breeder, but a trainer. And so they would go once a week just to interact with these dogs, see how he did, what dogs did he go towards, and what dogs really kind of ventured towards him personality wise. And so they ended up getting a puppy from Rosie and Maverick, and they named her Rosie. But this puppy became his shadow. So anywhere he went, she went with him. So that the bathroom, the bedroom, to school, to doctor's appointments, everything, she went with him. And she does do some task-oriented work. She does compression therapy. She'll do some orbiting, like smaller tasks, but it is task-oriented.
So orbiting is when he gets overwhelmed and she senses that in him and she will just walk around him to make him feel comfortable.
Where he has his own bubble that nobody else is in.
Yep.
He
Mm.
is now the most outgoing, talkative kid you'd ever meet, and you'd never know any different. But he has this shadow, this living teddy bear that goes with him everywhere. That is just this empowering being that he gets to take with him. And it's been so cool to see him at such a young age blossom and just become so outspoken and outgoing and just eager to do things. She's like, he wants to take her on walks and he wants to go to the park and he wants to do all these things. It's not a, we're going to the park. I don't want to. It's a, I'll go get my shoes. Let's go. So it's been cool to see the difference
Powerful
in
story.
such a young person with a dog that can give them that freedom.
Wow.
Yeah, that's powerful. I mean, I can't imagine how many different stories, probably similar to that you have just working with this particular breed and doing what you do. I mean, I know people have stories all out there of how their animals, pets, or service dogs or whatever, like really changed their life. But I mean, that's powerful. I mean, we have, between the two of us, we have four boys that don't talk. It's not selective mutism, but, like, and we see them in different situations and circumstances with high anxiety and, not interacting or interacting in their own way. Um, and you just try to make sense of someone else's story and how it kind of is applicable and it's inspiring.
I mean, I wish I knew about this because so one of my girls, Ellie,
Hmm.
was diagnosed with selective mutism.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
And school was a challenge for her. I mean, she didn't talk until she was probably 7 or so, or start talking until she was 7 or so. But um, when she was out of the house or in school, she would just shut down.
Yep.
And the more attention they tried to give her or put on her,
The
like,
mother should probably go into her shell.
yeah, it just made it worse.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I wish I knew this was a thing back then.
Yeah. So when you talk about, having a service dog and a service dog being task oriented, those are the kind of things you're talking about, right? Like it's very, very custom to the person. The
Yes.
task or tasks that they complete are very unique to that individual, right?
Mhm.
It's okay. Um,
So, for instance, we have an older dog. He's a little over 2 now, and his name is Pops. And you've probably seen him all over our socials because we share him all the time. But his owner, he was trained to do this set of tasks. And in about the past 6 months, she had some health issues, and he now needed to learn this set of tasks. So the trainer and she have worked so hard to train him all these new tasks, and he's just jumped right on it and he's done great. But that's where the individual out, wow, that word's hard. Individuality, there we go, comes in that their dogs can be trained specifically for them. So there's organizations out there that you can go and get a fully trained dog from. So you can go get a 2-year-old dog who's been fully trained, gone through everything. They're amazing. I'm not saying that they're not, but they don't have the bond with their handler the way that most of our puppies do, because most of our puppies, well, yes, they'll go do a board and train for a stint of time. They are raised and trained by the handler and the trainer, not just the trainer, which I think is huge. That really gives the bond between that specific dog and their
Mhm.
handler. So Pops was able to learn all of these tasks because he's with her all the time. He caught
Mhm.
on to all these things, and then they just figured what his cues were and said, okay, he's already giving you a cue. We're going to train off of that. So it's been cool to see that too, of, a 2-year-old that's learning new task work for his handler.
The poodle's intelligence, but the golden retriever's loyalty. And
Mhm.
whenever you mix those two breeds, you just come out with this phenomenal dog that is not only intelligent, but they're loyal to their handlers. And that's what happened in the instance of Pops when he was so loyal to her, he needed to perform a new task. He just picked right up on that. They are phenomenal. A lot of people say that they breed them because of the access and everything. They're lower shedding, and some people call them hypoallergenic We call them lower shedding because they still have an undercoat that comes out. So that is also a huge plus, is that they're not shedding a dog, another dog everywhere they go.
But also for our families who are going to travel, getting on
Yes.
an airplane with a dog that is low shedding, more on the hypoallergenic side, you have one less thing on your mind. Is
Right.
somebody allergic to dogs? Am I going to cause somebody to have an allergic reaction? Whereas, with the lab, obviously they have that danger and that shedding here. Girls, go play in the living room.
And
Versus
they're just like children. They're like our kids, basically.
who are just, it's like I get on a call and they just start going ham. I don't know if you can see them ran to the table. They're having the most fun. You're a dork. You are. Go play in the living room. All your
Oh my
toys.
gosh, I love it.
Hi.
Oh, yeah, that's Olive with the wild hair. Carli fixes her hair pretty much every single
I've
day,
already fixed it today.
and every single day she pulls it out.
Does she really?
Literally
I
already
love
pulled it out.
that. Look at that.
You know those pencils that used to do like this and the hair on the top would go,
Trolling.
That's her hair.
yes, yeah.
Every time I put it up and she pulls it out, or they start roughhousing and somebody grabs her rubber bands and starts to pull them out, I'm like, y'all just stay up. Because I won't cut her top knot, and if it's not up, she can't see. So it's like her hair has to be in ponytails or she'll literally run into the wall. So it's it's bad because her top knot's so long it covers her eyes. She looks like a little emo kid whenever her top knot's down because it's like halfway down her nose. It's so funny. My husband picks on her all the time. He's like, babe, put her hair up. I did. She just pulls it out.
She took it down.
Likes
care of
those
the child.
bunnies.
She does.
So, do you have any specific questions for them?
I would say, as a parent, what should I know going into, well, I have two, but what should I as a parent know going into looking for a service dog or an animal, a support animal for my kid or kids, with a breeder if they happen to be in an area. My second question is what areas do you service, but if they happen to be in an area that you guys don't service or can't get to easily or what have you.
So we service the United States.
Okay.
We have flight nannies. Carli also flight nannies for our parents too.
Okay.
So we are available for our puppy parents. But I would say when you're looking at a breeder, when you're looking for a breeder, number one, you want to be sure that they're open and honest, that they do the health testing, that you're welcome to come visit the parents and the puppies. That, our home, we raise our dogs in our home. They're not raised at another location. They're raised with us in our home. They have their own bedroom here, okay? So we welcome people to come meet our parents and to come visit, to come see if we're the right fit for them. So you need a breeder that's open to that. You also need a breeder that is going to do the curriculum that, we have a combination of curriculums. One of them is badass, one of them is puppy culture, and then we have added our own instructional and curriculum into that with the help of our puppy evaluator. And sometimes that also fluctuates according to what people we have on our list and what their needs are. If a trainer asks for us to do something specific with our litters, we're all about it. The day that we stop catering to our puppy parents and stop learning is the day that our business will dwindle. We're ever learning and trying to make a better program for our puppy parents. And you also need a breeder that's going to have a communication. And I'm not talking about, all hours of the day necessarily. I'm talking about for them saying these are the life stages. Like, for instance, we have a family Facebook group only our puppy families are in this group. And whenever we are having puppies, we're going live in that. We're showing them what we're doing, why we're doing it, so that they are not here every single day with us raising their puppy, but they get to see them almost every single day because we're doing something in the family group where they're getting to see the puppies, see what they're doing, see their milestones. And then at 6 weeks, we offer a visitation where puppy parents can come for 1 hour and they can visit all of the puppies and see, we say, make a list of which ones are your favorites according to where you're at on the list. And then at 7 weeks, we go into puppy picks. Now, I will say for our working dog spot, which is always number one, first pick on our list, some of their trainers don't want them in our family group until after the trainer and the evaluator have picked their puppy because they don't want them to get attached to any of the other puppies in the litter.
Mm.
So
Because it's so easy to
sometimes,
watch the videos and be like,
yeah,
oh my goodness, look at this puppy doing that. Oh, but look at this puppy doing that. And you fall in love with them because you see them every day. And
Mhm.
then if that's not the puppy that ends up temperament evaluating for them, we don't want there to be disappointment in that.
Right.
So after they have their puppy, they're allowed to be in the group and they can go rewatch everything. And they also get to watch it from a different perspective at that point because they know which puppy is theirs. So, okay, I'm going to go get in the group and I'm going to watch, green collar jelly bean and all the things that he did through the whole process. My eyes are going to be on him versus be on everybody else. So
right.
there's pluses, but there's also a little bit of sadness that they don't get to be in it
Yeah.
during the time, but they get to still have all of the resource with it.
And we've
So
also had trainers say that they didn't want that working dog spot to come to puppy visitations. And we've had some say, yeah, let them go to puppy visitation. So it just depends on your relationship with you and your trainer. And I would definitely lean on them for a lot of stuff like that because they've been there, they've done that.
also
They
depends, but some families will come and they'll be like, oh, but I really prefer a girl. I would say, and their trainer knows that. So they're gonna be like, okay, well, I really don't think that you should go to visitation because you're going to obviously go and you're going to play with all the girls and you're going to fall in love with a girl. And
Yes.
Yeah.
he's not who you get.
Yeah.
So that's also part of the reason. Or we have some families who are like, I do not care which puppy in the litter, whichever puppy the evaluator and the trainer tells me is mine, great. That's our dog and we're good to go. Most of the time, the families who have a more open mind on gender and coat color do get to come to the little puppy meetup and get to play with the puppies versus families who have a preference. And, you got to understand everybody's going to have a preference,
Right.
whether that's, well, I only grew up with girl dogs or only grew up with boy dogs or, oh my goodness, I really want that chocolate coat like Phoebe. She's just stunning. Or it's like because she's just that traditional cream. I mean, there's so many little aspects that go into it that you don't really think about until you're on the logistics side of it.
Yeah.
Right. And I would also say look for a breeder that, we submit our health testing to the Goldendoodle Association. So, we're kind of an open book from that aspect. We're also licensed in the state of Texas to sell puppies. And a lot of breeders are not. A lot of breeders are, they're just doing it. Just
Yeah.
like in any profession, they're just there to make the paycheck.
And being
Um,
licensed through the state is not just a piece of paperwork. The state comes out and inspects our home, our facility, our house, because that's
And
where
they
our
also had to have written documentation from our vet stating that we do take our adult dogs and our puppies to the vet for vet care, that we are giving them the proper exercise and the proper nutrition and the proper vaccines, that we're taking care of our crew.
That's amazing. So what do you guys see in store for yourselves over the next year, 2 years, 5 years or so? What do you think's in store?
So one thing that I'm most excited about, and I think Carly is too, is that because we don't line breed, and line breeding is where you're breeding basically
Gener-
relatives back to relatives. All of our dogs are not related. And that is fabulous because we are being sure that we're not breeding any diseases into our lines or anything like that. So this 2026 will be our first year for our own lines to be carried on. So we have Fritz, who is an olive maverick baby, and we have Diamond, who is an Ethel Drew baby. And we will be breeding them in 2026. So those will be our puppies from our own lines. And we are super excited about that because all four of those parents are phenomenal dogs in their own right.
Also,
So,
parents are our foundation lines.
yes.
So those are the lines that we started with. Those are the first 4 out of 5 dogs that we got. So not including Lucy, that's our foundation. And so it's really going to be so cool to see, okay, these are our foundation lines that we've worked for 5 years to keep, and now we finally get to. So super excited. And on top of them being foundation lines, genetically, this litter is going to be crazy. And I say that in the most loving way. I love my crazy litters. I love all the coat variation. I love the different coat types, all the things. They're going to throw potentially about 7 different coat color patterns.
Wow.
Wow.
So I'm really stoked to see which genetics pull and what their puppies look like based off of that, because Fritz is what I consider a unicorn. Every breeder's going to have their unicorn dog. So whether that be genetic, coat color, temperament, structure, all the things, Fritz is a unicorn. Fritz carries and can produce about 10 different colors based on who he's paired with. So it's like
Wow.
genetically, he has all this genetic makeup to do all these crazy things depending on who he's paired with, coat wise. Not to mention structurally, he's just gorgeous. I mean,
Gorgeous.
he's a mad baby. He's so square. He's so pretty. All
And
the
not to mention, I mean, that's the icing that Carly's talking about. But what we already have is that cake foundation that all of these parents have produced working in service therapy dogs. They all have that in them. So we're letting that, breeding that more so into our program. It's a real blessing to be able to see these dogs get out and perform and to do what they're meant to do for their handlers. I mean, and we have a lot of pet home puppies that, for instance, there was one little girl that was terrified of dogs, and her parents came to us and they said, she's terrified, but we want her to have a dog so that she's not terrified, so that she can have a dog that grows up with her. And so we got a plan together with them, and they came over almost every week, first of all, to meet our adult dogs. And then after the puppies were born, they came over after their eyes were open and their ears were open and they were mobile, to meet the puppies. And they were consistent in that and training their kids. That this is, going to be one of your puppies. And by the time that puppy went home, the little girl was, I'm not going to say 100% not afraid of dogs anymore, but right now she is. And this dog is, I think, 85 pounds. He's
huge.
Oh,
huge. And they are best friends. But that is, it's a blessing. It just does our heart so good to see whenever these dogs go into a home, whether it's a working home or a pet home, that they can become a puzzle piece in their home and make their household better.
yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, and we've talked a lot about working dogs, service dogs, emotional support animals, but that's not all you guys do. That's just a part of the business. So how can people, if people are interested and if, like I don't know what pre-qualifiers you look for in your potential families, but I would say, what are some of the things that say, a family's ready to talk to you guys? And two, like how do people get in touch with you?
Absolutely. You want to answer, Carly?
Yeah, so our program is a little different in that aspect. So the Zoom call today is very familiar to us. So we have a process of how to get one of our puppies. So we have a puppy application that we don't charge for. Anybody can fill it out. So off of our website, you can go fill out the puppy application. Then after that, we do a Zoom consultation. So on that Zoom, we're talking to families. Okay, well, what are you looking for in your dog? Like what is your ideal grown dog? Not what is your ideal puppy, because puppies are all going to have their moments. Every puppy is going to chew a sock, chew a shoe, chew the leg of your whatever, your table, your chair, your
Accident
couch,
on the floor.
have an accident on the floor. I mean, there's just puppies will be puppies, no matter, whether they're going to go be a potential working dog or be a pet home. They're going to have their puppy moments. They just are because they're puppies, they're babies. They got to grow and learn. So on that Zoom, we really tried to figure out what a family's ideal adult dog is. And then we can say, okay, hey, I think that this pairing could potentially be really good for you. What are your thoughts? Is this something that you want or don't want, kind of thing? And then after the Zoom consultation, somebody can put a reservation down on a puppy. Either if a puppy is currently available, which isn't very common, most of our puppies are typically already sold before they're born. But sometimes if we have bigger litters, there will be available puppies after puppy picks. And then if that's the case, which puppy that's available are you interested, or which litter list do you want to join? And then they can get on that. And most of the time, if our families are serious, they're going to complete the Zoom call and they're going to, obviously be very forthcoming of what they're wanting and time frame and all of that. We've only ever told one person no, and nothing against younger people having one of our puppies. We have so many young, like late teens to early 20s families. I love them. I adore them. But sometimes life circumstances, such as living in a dorm room at college, aren't necessarily the best of puppies, considering they're not allowed. So there are certain obstacles. So we've really only ever told one person no, and there were reasons behind it. But typically, if our families have filled out the application and they've gotten on a Zoom, they're very serious about what they're wanting in a puppy. And we're also not the breeder that sends home a puppy and is like, okay, don't ever talk to me again. No. Updates. We live for updates. Oh my gosh, whether that's just a text message of I have a question, or hey, here's an updated picture, or whatever it is. We still get updates from our first litter. And it's the coolest thing to see them, now as grown adult dogs, that we still get all these updates from their families. It's really cool. But
And most of our people that come to us, they've stalked our socials, they've stalked our website, they've been watching for a little bit anyways. And I always say, do your due diligence whenever you're looking for a breeder. Be sure that there's someone that you can work with and you like their foundation, their philosophies, that you can live with what they're offering. Because we're not the breeder for everyone. Like we say on our website, if you're looking for the flashy, fastest, most beautiful car, if you will, and colors and all that, then we're probably not the breeder for you because we're looking at temperament and structure before we're looking at colors.
Yeah.
and it's also just what personalities get along,
Yes.
We are both very upfront people. That's just who we are. We have very loud voices, we don't talk super soft. We talk pretty loud, all the things. My husband always cracks up. His family is very quiet and very subtle. And mine is not. We walk in and everybody's like, "What's up? Oh my gosh, we're so
And
And
if
then
we have something to say, we're gonna say it. I mean, you can mean what you say without being mean, right?
yes,
Yes.
And sometimes people think that we're mean because we mean what we say, especially to each other. I mean, we've been in instances where people will look at me and Carly and be like, y'all just said that to each other. And neither of us thought anything harsh about it. It's just, let's mean what we say and not be mean about it.
in that,
Well, there's plenty of ways. Like you guys have, you've got a website, you have Facebook, you're on Instagram. I know we're part of the families that have puppies on the Facebook group. People can email you, they can call. There's a million different ways they
Absolutely.
can get in touch.
Absolutely. Carly's phone number is on all of our socials.
mine still that's attached to everything. So you've got the bat line whenever you call.
And you can always message us through any of our platforms, text message us, call.
Kind of just depends on the family. We have some families who we've basically solely communicated on Instagram with. We
Yeah.
have some who we've only emailed with. We have some who use all the different forms. They'll text, they'll email, they'll message on Facebook. Whatever is currently open on their phone at that moment is how they'll communicate. And it's just, whatever their preference is totally fine by us. We have group chats with so many of our families because now that we're at two different locations, I can't just walk in the other room and be like, hey, so and so texted us and here's the updated picture, so we have a lot of group chats now. And so we'll just, name the group chat, Dacus and whoever it is, and then we'll just get updates. Like we got an update last week from one of our families who has one of Fritz's siblings, and she sent like 5 or 6 pictures of their little girl, and it was so cute. It's like, oh my gosh, she's literally stunning. She's gorgeous. So all the things, it's kind of just dependent on the family and what their preference is for communication.
Perfect.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Well, as things come to a close, I do have one question for both of you, and that is if you could tell us a struggle, strive, or a thrive for this week.
Could be anything, doesn't have to be dog related.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be dog related. It could be a struggle you have, a strive, or some kind of win for the week.
Well, I'm gonna go with the win that I haven't got a call from the doctor, so that means I passed my glucose test. So that's
Woo!
cool.
Oh my God, yes. Don't have to do that again.
He said if they don't call, I passed. And so I went last Thursday. They didn't call Friday. They didn't call yesterday. So we should be good. So
Absolutely.
Yay, no, that's not. Yuck.
I'm sure you passed it.
I ate 36 jelly beans. It was awful.
Her doctor gave her the choice of eating jelly beans or drinking the glucose, and she said, give me the jelly beans. But she didn't realize that she had to eat the jelly beans without drinking any water with
You don't
them.
need any water to like wash them down. And let me tell you, eating 36 jelly beans really dries your mouth out.
I
Real
really
fast.
think I would have chosen the jelly beans too, though.
Yeah, having done the glucose drink, ugh.
No, thank you.
Yeah.
Everything I've heard is it's so bad, and you have to do it on an empty stomach. And I was like, I feel like, drinking that whole drink on an empty stomach is just
Yeah,
not going to be great. So
That
I
seems to be nauseous.
yeah. They told me, oh, it's just like orange soda. No, it's not.
No. Well, thank you both so much. We will get your information uploaded and posted so that people can see where to find you, see where to get in touch. We'll have some pictures of our beautiful puppies. And we appreciate you so much. I know it took us a few times to get this scheduled, but it was fantastic as I knew it would be.
Thank you so much for having us. We appreciate it.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
guys.
Thanks, guys.
Talk to y'all later.
Bye.
Bye.